Ariel cars are very unique. There aren't that many of them, especially the Nomads. You can get a lot of information about the Atom, but Nomad is so rare that you can't really get any info in terms of the options which are good, the things to order. So I will try to advise you on it from my extensive experience over thousands of miles. Something that you might not be aware after you read the reviews, after you see the other reviews, when you see the starting price, you have to be aware that for the starting price you get pretty much a bare car. There's nothing on it, there's no windscreen, there's no winch, there's no nice wheels, nothing like that. You have to add everything. All the optional extras are expensive, they're worth money. That's why many times people ask me what are the good optional extras. Especially that adding them when the car is built is much cheaper than adding them later on if you change your mind. What I would definitely get is the supercharger. If you can afford it, if you think that you will enjoy the car, it's much better to do it to start with. You don't have to send the car for a week, it's inconvenient. Or at least if you're not getting the supercharger, you can get a heavy-duty clutch. Some people might disagree, but when ordering a new Nomad, I would definitely tick the box for operated clutch. It's slightly heavier to drive with. It's okay. I've tried it, I've driven it. You get used to it pretty much after a day, so it's not as nice, it's not as soft and easy to drive in traffic with as the standard one. However, it makes a massive difference to any sort of track driving. If you want to do some like really sharp starts, you just want to basically drop the clutch very often, slide the car and things like that. It's not a massive expense when you order in the car. However, it's much greater to do it afterwards. To change the clutch, you have to drop the engine, which becomes a big job. Of course, you have to disconnect everything, plug everything back again, fill up the fluids and so on and so on. So I think it's only a few £100 option once you order in the car, but then it becomes £1,200 if you want to do it later on. So definitely this is something that I would do if I were you. If you plan any sort of spirited driving, but I'm guessing if you order in a Nomad, this is something that you definitely have in mind. I would definitely get the ambidextrous chassis design, which means that you can convert it from left to right hand drive whenever you want. It takes about 6 to 8 hours to change it. I really think that it doesn't make it uglier. There's just a tiny bit in the cockpit that you see that basically there's a bracket for the steering wheel to move it from one side to another. This is pretty much the only difference. It opens up the whole market for you if you decide to sell it at a later stage, because you've got the whole market of Europe, the whole market in America. Basically you can sell it anywhere. If you're going to stick to right-hand drive, it's limited. I think it costs about £300 when you order it, so it's a no-brainer to me. Another thing that I would definitely get is the underbody protection. Underbody protection makes me so relaxed about taking it off-road. It makes the car literally flat. There's nothing that it can get hooked, there's nothing that can get attached. It's not too expensive, but it's a massive safety thing. It's really good. Now, winch. My car has a winch. I don't know whether this is something that is vital. It really depends how much of off-roading you are planning to do, because it's not just about the winch, you also have to order the mount for it. I think it looks nicer. It gives you a little bit of protection to the front as well. If you ever bump into anything, just basically you're not going to hit it with the headlights, you're going to hit it with a massive metal bar, which hopefully is going to stop any damage. Winch is something that you might only need once in a few years, but in this one time it will save your ass. So this is something that I would order. It's a really cool, really good quality worn winch that Ariel sells you. It comes with a remote control, which makes it very easy to operate. You don't even have to be in the car, so you can kind of control the rope while it's winching you. Another thing that I would definitely order is the mounts for the panels on the side. Even if you decide not to put them on the outside, if you decide to add them later on, it's a massive job because they have to be welded on. So probably you wouldn't even want to do it, because that means that the whole cage has to be powder coated again, the color has to be done. So it's much easier to order something like this just before you get the car. Another very important purchase while ticking the option boxes is the heated screen. It looks a little bit silly. You might think, why the hell do I need a heated screen in a car that is like fully open? but unfortunately if you drive it in the rain you can see a lot of condensation. It does happen a lot. It really obstructs your view. It makes you have to slow down. It is annoying. It's annoying unnecessarily, so definitely this is the option to take while ordering a new Nomad. To be honest with you, I haven't driven the car on a standard suspension, so I don't know what it's like. I don't know how much worse it is, but the all-ins that my car is on is amazing. It's absolutely brilliant and comfortable when you go off-roading. It's really good on a normal road as well. It's fully adjustable. You can adjust how high do you want it, you can adjust how hard do you want it. I left it on standard settings, which is kind of a mix of on-road and off-road, because that's exactly how I use it. If I would decide to use it more on the track, I would probably get it harder. I would get different wheels. The wheels is the important part as well, something that you of course will be thinking about when buying a new one, when ordering a car. I would start from the all-terrain, the ones that we have on 15-inch wheels. You can buy more road orientated or even track orientated rubber, which is on 18-inch wheels. I don't really like the way the car looks. I don't think that it suits the Ariel to be on something that has wheels of this size with this amount of rubber. It rides really good on the 15-inch. They absorb every bump. They're really comfortable, and the performance is not really limited on the road. I really like it. I took it to Nürburgring. I drove it at Dansport at the Top Gear track, and really I wasn't complaining about the lack of grip. They are really good. They last a long time as well, so you don't have to worry about it for many thousand miles. I also have another set of wheels on mud terrain tires, the same size, 15-inch, the BF Goodrich. They are really good for off-roading. I really like them. I also like how the car drives on them. It's very tail happy. It slides literally everywhere. You're doing 50 miles around the roundabout and the car wants to slide. There's no grip on the concrete or on the tarmac whatsoever, which is fun. However, this is not something that you want to have when you're just trying to get to places. So if you're planning to drive the car more on the road, then I would definitely stick to all-terrain. Ariel gives you a massive choice of finishes in terms of colors, what you can do with your car. The one thing that I don't think I would do is to powder coat the footwell, the interior, like the footrest for the passenger. It looks really nice to start with, however it's not going to look nice after 6 months or a year of driving people around, all the rubbish just basically being stuck there. So I would leave it as aluminium, purely exposed. It might not match perfectly some other color choices, some other color schemes, but in the longer run I really think that it's going to look nicer and you don't have to do anything about it, it just stays clear. Other optional extras that are definitely worth buying is the cigarette lighter socket, USB socket. You will need your gadgets powered when you're driving. You will want to charge your phone. It's a really small cost, but it's one of those things that make you use the car more, because it makes it more civilized, it makes it easier to actually go places. Very good optional extra that you can order from Ariel while ordering your Nomad is the TomTom. As you can imagine, in a Nomad everything gets really wet. So the TomTom that you get from Ariel is a TomTom Rider designed for motorbikes. They mount it for you, it's all powered, so basically you don't have to worry about charging it, you just slide it in and then it works. The coolest thing about the TomTom Rider that I wasn't aware about until I got it is that it gives you an option to plan a trail. A trail is a fun ride, fun drive. It finds them literally everywhere. You can select the difficulty, you can choose how long do you want it to be, how steep, how elevated do you want it to be, how windy do you want the roads to be. And it can find cool roads literally anywhere. Apart from, like, of course, big cities, it's going to be difficult to find a fun road in Knightsbridge, despite what some people try to do. But anywhere outside of the town, we're yet to be disappointed by it. The lights on top, I think they look really cool. I think they really add to the nomadness, so I really like them. We also use them as a mount for the roof, which we have. They're really good, they're really good quality. They look really cool because they have the LED rings inside of them, so when they're on they look really nice. However, they don't really give you that much benefit because of the way where they're mounted. You can't really have them in the front, that would be better, that would be ideal, but there's no space for it, so of course they had to mount them just above the windscreen. But they give you a lot of glare because of the way the windscreen is kind of almost flat, the angle of the windscreen is really low. So the benefit of seeing further is negated by the disadvantage of kind of having the glare in front of you. I think you have three options for seatbelts, as in harnesses. We have the widest ones, the FIA registered. You can get something that is easier to put on. Basically there's like a clip just on your belly, and it does save you a little bit of time. However, I don't think they look as cool as the others. So the other ones are also stronger, so safer, but let's be honest, they just look cool. So those are the ones that I would get for the 4 points. They are really quick to get in, really quick to get out once you set them for yourself. So the only time that you actually have to spend adjusting them is when somebody else is becoming a passenger or somebody else wants to drive the car. One thing that I really appreciate so far, after owning the car for a few months, is the level of aftercare from Ariel. They look after me very well. They always try to go the extra mile. So definitely there's this personal touch that is normally missing in any normal car purchase. However, you do have to be aware that the car doesn't come with a normal warranty that you would get from high volume brands. This video was about the advice how to order your Nomad, what options to go for. If you are interested in more in-depth review of the actual ownership part, make sure to see the other video. Nomad is not for everyone. There will be many people that will not understand it, they will not get it, it will be loud and annoying to them. But for the few that get it, there's nothing else like it. You really do not have an alternative. Ariel did an amazing job of making many people's dream come through in a car that is so good, is so fun, that there's no way you're going to regret buying it.